Greetings, travelers. My name is Nick Murphy.
And my name is Satchell Drakes.
And welcome to the Cinephilia Anonymous Telecast. We're going to take you on an interstellar adventure through the darkest corner of your mind to unlock your hidden passion for cinema.
We're going back in the day. Today's
Yeah,
throwback. It's Throwback Thursday.
Because old.
That is the day that this will be released.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that from now on, you can expect a new episode on Thursdays. We're committing to it now. Before it was a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
We were feeling things out, figuring out when's the best time to post, when people are looking forward to content and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. At the end of the day, it seems like a toss-up. It'll be there. If you dig it, that's awesome. And this is the day that you can expect it to be showing up. Yes.
Yeah, definitely on YouTube. iTunes is always kind of a question mark when I upload it.
Oh, that's right, because the turnover is unpredictable.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But we'll see. We're aiming for Thursday.
It's an Apple thing, guys.
Oh, speaking of, man, they just had that the Apple the watch announcement.
Oh, dude, that's right. So, okay, I want to hear what you think, because when we first met, one of the first conversations we had was, I was like, oh, you wear the Nano on your wrist. That's pretty tight.
I do.
You're
yeah,
a cool
I
person.
can show it on the thing.
And you said you were kind of holding off to see like what the Apple Watch is like. I know that the price point is definitely like something worth being considered. Like where do you stand with that and the features and all that?
My knee-jerk reaction was because I think the base starts at $350 and then it goes up to the tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
And my knee-jerk reaction was like, whoa, what? That is way too expensive. Even at $350, I was like, it's kind of expensive. Yeah. And then I was like, it's a watch. Watches are expensive. I've never, you can buy watches for cheap as hell, but if I wanted to get if my wife wanted to buy me a watch present, present, I would expect her to spend $100, $200, so it's really not that big of a jump.
Yeah, that's how I had it reasoned out too. I was kind of like in my head, and it wasn't too far of a jump for me to think well, the people who are enthusiastic about watches, watches already has its sort of cultural enthusiasm.
Right.
And for people who are into watches, they're probably spending around that or maybe just under that, and give or take, this has special technology in it. Yeah.
Well, I also kind of feel that that's almost going to be its downfall, is because if you buy a Rolex for $3,000, if you're the kind of person that buys a Rolex for $3,000, 10 years later it's still a Rolex and it still works. Do you know what I mean? If you're to pay $5,000 for some kind of Apple Watch, it's a piece of tech that there's built-in obsolescence to it, and at some point it's just not going to be state of the art and not do what it's supposed to do. At some point it's just going to kind of break down. I wonder what the lifespan of the, if I look at a iPhone 3, you know what I mean? It works and I can make calls from it and stuff, but at some point it's just, the technology is going to pass it and it's just going to be antiquated.
Right.
So I don't know if it's worth that, on the higher end of those. I realize there's a small market for that, but I don't know if the higher end will pay off in the way that they're hoping it will.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm hoping Apple has thought about that, because one of the primary reasons people would invest in a timepiece is mostly because of its internals. It's because of the precision put into the way the gears move and things like that. And with the Apple Watch, there isn't really any of that there. So they really are still reaching out to a fresh market. And I want to believe that, and this is idealistically, I want to believe that they see it the way that I've kind of see it with my Pebble Watch, where I understand that my my smartwatch is not a new electronic device in the same way that my iPad or my iPhone is. But at the end of the day, it's an assistant to an assistant. It's tethered to the thing that actually matters. It's tethered to a brain. So because of that, I don't go in with grand expectations for it to do anything different than extending things that I can already do. So which is I think is going to be, this is going to be the first time that most people have to understand that or deal with that. And with that, I want to think that Apple kind of ditches, is for at least for the watch, they ditch an annual release schedule, especially since they are charging people $10,000 for specific watches.
Right.
But that might very well not be the case at all. I mean, I can't think of it might not be the case at all.
Yeah.
You know?
And I get the, like, a watch is also like a status symbol kind of thing. You know, it's like what's your, you know, it's a high price tag that you put on your wrist and stuff. But like, I don't see enough of a distinction. Like, I could look at a watch and be like, oh, that's a nice watch. It's probably kind of expensive, but like could be mistaken. With the Apple Watch, I feel like there's not like a delineation between like the cheap versus like the expensive. Like the band, I guess, would be the thing that would...
Yeah, the band would be the big one. And then I guess the whole gold thing.
Yeah, you're right. The gold
Like
thing
the
is like the,
gold.
gold iWatch, or iWatch, gold Apple Watch. You must mean you got a lot of money kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, man,
I don't know.
I would straight up
interesting.
judge a dude for a gold.
I know, right?
I know it's probably bad.
That'd be
but
like
just
the kind
knowing,
of dude that
it's just everyone on this train knows exactly how much.
Yeah, dude, right? How much
I
this
love,
guy has.
like, during the entire conference, Pebble Watch was like, and I found it really funny because the only reason Pebble Watch exists and can sync with Apple devices is because Apple like kind of brought them on and gave them a special deal to kind of, I guess, to see how smartwatches would work, see how what the adoption would be like. They were doing some crazy competitive tweeting. They're like,
where are they?
what was it? Toyota Prius or Apple Watch? When they were like release the like they had all these like really great tweets. It's funny.
Oh, that's awesome. I saw on their website it was like they, I guess, I don't know, I hadn't been on their website before, but they were talking about like they're like 7 days, not daily. Like they had like reformatted some stuff to like really talk about like hit those points and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean the price. I was looking at the Pebble, like it got me curious of the Pebble because I know you have it, I know you like it and stuff, and I was thinking about that, like if because even like these iPod Nanos, like to buy like a new or used one is still like $70 at that point.
Okay.
So I'm kind of just like the one Pebble is like $100. So I'm like, well, I could spend an extra $30 and get something that's like kind of new still.
Right. Yeah.
So I was kind of looking at that just in case, like for something down the road.
It looks great. The color e-ink display is nice.
It looks, yeah, it does look really
and
cool.
They have some interesting ideas for it.
Yeah,
so.
And I like that idea of like, it's got like a retro feel to it, which is kind of nice. You know, it doesn't need, like, you have a phone for the flashiness, and like, you just want a watch to be a watch at some point, you know. But like the extra stuff that they add on there, it's nice. It's a nice, like, I mean, I don't get like notifications on like my Nano watch. It's just kind of like, it just lights up nicely, and I put music on it and stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard to make an argument for or against that, because depending on where you stand with notifications, like I think at first I was kind of put off by notifications because I was kind of like, oh well, man, that's really connected. Like I don't know. And I think over time I kind of realized, I don't know. For me, I guess I've had this for 3 years now. Yeah, I've had it for like 3 years now.
Yeah.
I don't feel sucked away by them. If anything, it helps me be more present when they show up, because they show up and then I glance and I know right away like whether I need to like disengage to like, I don't know, like send a text back or whatever or not.
Right.
Especially like if I'm out like shooting or whatever, like it's just a lot easier to just, or especially if it's cold. I went out shooting out in the cold. It was really.
I saw that footage. It looks great, man.
Thanks, dude. It was cold out. It was like right after it. So it's hard to believe that was just this past weekend, and now it's so much better outside. But like it saved the day. Like I'm like focusing up, and like I get a text, and like I was kind of like, I just left, and there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. So like it wasn't like I could just throw my phone in do not disturb mode, which I usually tend to do. And it was just nice just to kind of glance over and be like, all right, information received, and continue doing what I'm doing. Sounds very minute, very secondary, and really it is.
No,
but it was
it's,
nice.
it's important. It is kind of like the world we live in now, and like
it is. Yeah.
I when they Apple announced that you could get like notifications on, like on your screen and stuff, and on like everything is kind of like synced up in the Apple world right now. Like you like log in with your iCloud, and it's just kind of like, oh, on your computer and on your phone, like your reminders pop up on all these things. Part. I like that, but at the same time, like I had to take some of that off. Like I didn't need my text messages popping up on my screen. I kind of turned off like a lot of notifications for like a lot. Like I used to have like Twitter when I would get like @ mentions or emails would pop up. So I turned all that off, and then I turned off like phone calls and messages coming through on the thing. Cause like, even like I noticed, I feel like younger generation is more, like linked in with like instant messaging and like immediate kind of thing. Like I feel like that's a distraction that takes me out. Like when I sit down to like work and stuff, like I don't open up Skype or anything like that. I just like I'm in work mode. I'm not here to like talk or like, cause it'll just be distracting and I'll just wind up like not doing my work and stuff. So I always kind of like when I get on Skype, it's like to work, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally hear that. For me, I've always been, just for me personally, I've always been bad at IM in general. Like I still don't assign it any priority in my life. So like someone will talk to me like, hey, how's your day? And I'll just like get up and like go get food.
Right.
And then they'll be like, oh, sorry, I left because I love you. It's just anything on IM is less important.
Right.
For whatever reason.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I'm not.
Send me a text. Even an email. I'm an inbox 0 person. I will respond to emails before I respond to IMs.
That's awesome. I wish I could do that. Like I can't get it out of double digits. Like it always like hovers like between like 20 to 50, and I can't, because I just leave like important ones go unread, get marked unread to like come back later on, and then they pile up after like a month, and I'm just like, all right, well, I really got to like clean it out.
Have you ever used, you know what helped me? Have you ever used Mailbox before?
Like the Apple Mailbox?
No, it's so it's this app, and it's like it's a getting things done affiliated sort of app. So the way that it works is it's all gesture based. Okay. And like, of course, like you could do Apple actually stole a lot of the new stuff in their mail app from them, like the whole long swipe to archive or long swipe to trash. The way that it'll work is there's swipe left, swipe right, long swipe left, long swipe right, and for receipts you can long swipe and auto send it to like a receipts folder. But another thing you could do is you can snooze email just so you get to 0. And then it'll pop back up new the next day. And it gets you in the habit of like accepting that you need to clear out your stuff. You need to respond to things. I did that for like 2 months, and then Yosemite came out, all their stuff came out, and I just reverted back to normal Apple Mail. And I found myself in that rhythm, and I never got out of it, of just like, if it comes in, respond to it, get into it. Everyone's different. For me, I found that worked because it just encourages. It like encouraged that, and then like if you get to 0, it gives you a little like cool image reward thing. There was all.
Does it really?
It like gamifies it a little way, but it's not. It doesn't feel like a program. It's not like Lumosity or something.
Okay, Lumosity, yeah. Oh, dude, I'm gonna bookmark this and come back to that. I'll send myself an email.
Yeah, right.
That's great, man. Well, cool. So let's jump into our movie stuff. For this week, we picked, for this episode, 12 Angry Men. And you know what? Like, I realized after I said it last time, it was just very much like, oh, I see this on like the top list of like every movie, not every movie, but a lot of movie lists. And it was like, oh, I've never seen that. And I think because a lot of people, like somebody on our subreddit said, Mr. Sea Cucumber says, we watched this in government class back in high school, so I had pretty much no expectations for it. However, was blown away by how good this movie is, especially for the time it was made. So for me, I was like, oh, well, this must be something that a lot of people watched in school that I missed out on, or my teachers didn't show, or just whatever. But it was a good excuse to like check that off the list, basically.
Yeah.
So what were so I guess let's run down some like quick facts about it, and then you'll tell us what the film's about, Satchel. Ready?
Yeah, man.
All right. So it was written by Reginald Rose. It was a stage play, and then it was directed by Philadelphia's own Sidney Lumet, and it was his first feature film, which is super impressive. He had directed a bunch of TV shows and plays at the time, but for a first film to like knock it out of the park, that's incredible. Yeah. He also directed Serpico, Dog Day Afternoon, Network. He passed away in 2011, and his last film was Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which is also on my list. I've been meaning to see.
Okay.
So it came out in the 50s. It was nominated for Best Picture,
50s,
Best
okay.
Director, Best Adapted
Great.
Screenplay. So all this stuff.
That makes perfect sense. All those
yeah.
things check out for me.
I know, like all those. It's like yes, exactly.
There's so many
So
cool
give us
things
a
in play.
quick rundown of what the film's about, Satchel.
Okay, here's a quick and dirty rundown. There's a dozen men, and they make up the grand jury, I think that's the proper term, for a young man, an 18-year-old man who is on trial for the murder of his father. We don't know, going into the film, we don't know anything about this young man except that we can't really, he looks, I don't know, I guess at the time he looked foreign. I couldn't really put my finger on where he was from.
I thought the same thing too, like, and it's in black and white, so that was like part of it.
Right,
you didn't really get like a skin tone quality or anything.
But you definitely got a vague idea that he was like a minority of some kind, you know what I mean? Paired with the fact that he grew up in I guess sort of like an inner city, underprivileged neighborhood.
Right. And that's what I was wondering too, like I was trying to think of like the 50s, like what would be like minority type, was like Hispanic, is it like,
like who are the new immigrants?
Jewish, Italian, like who are the new immigrants at that time? And I was trying to think, and I got distracted because the movie jumped right in and I didn't even like look it up or anything.
Yeah, it was definitely hard to tell. I'm actually interested in knowing that because it looked like that took place in New York. Right?
Yeah, I have a feeling
I think
it was very
New
York.
And he looked like he was from some part of Brooklyn because that's where all the immigrants
and they
are.
kept
That's where
talking
my
about the
parents
ball
are.
game. I just always assumed that that's like Yankees.
Right. Yeah,
know?
of course. Probably. Yeah, and so in order for everyone to go home and for the I guess the verdict to happen, for there to be like a conclusion, there had to be a unanimous decision as to whether this young man on trial was guilty or not guilty. Off the bat, everyone pleaded guilty except for one man, my hero. And
My hero.
I have to say there was strong opposition, and I thought it was interesting. We can talk about it more, but on a very high level, the movie sort of plays out this dialogue that serves as a kind of commentary on objectivism in arguments versus I guess, like, what would you call it, like emotional coloration of opinions? Or there was so many small things in there, from sidestepping the facts to personal call outs and personal jabs and personal accusations, to letting like prejudices get in the way of how you arrive at conclusions about a person's guilt or innocence. There was a lot of that in there. Can I just say, I'm going to let you chime in. Can I just say, if someone walked up to me on the street and was like, what is your favorite feature-length film? I might have to say 12 Angry Men.
Whoa, nice. Way to go, man.
It was, oh my gosh.
It was super interesting, right? It was well done, well made, well written, extremely well acted.
Extremely well acted. Oh my goodness. And this is coming from someone who, for me, that might be, with the exception of, so my dad loves Westerns, so I grew up watching a lot of black and white Westerns. This is like the first not Western black and white film that I've watched.
Oh, nice.
And I think you always kind of come in, I mean, it's sort of like, it's sort of how like younger kids might feel about like playing an Atari or whatever. Like, there's this certain threshold of quality that once you lose it, your mind sort of peters off and you're like, well, this probably won't be good because it's old. Right. And I know for a lot of people, they feel that way about black and white films. I'm not so much. I'm willing to watch. Like, obviously, I was able to do it for that. But even going into it, there was a little bit of skepticism. I remember when the film started, like, I was like, all right, this is interesting. Let's just go along for this ride. Like sort of like
Yeah.
psyching myself up to like
Yeah. Well, you saw the first guy and you're like, his pants are very high. I don't know if I'm
Right.
gonna like this.
Is this her? And then like I kind of see like one thing I kind of do oftentimes is like I'll look at all the characters and I'll kind of size them up and be like, am I going to be able to relate to anyone in this thing? You know, like
Well, dude, what's great about this movie is that it asks you to do that right off the bat. Like it wants you to do that. Like
Right.
the characters. First off, we're introduced to these characters just by their mannerisms and demeanor. Like nobody is given a name until the end of the movie. Like,
Exactly.
and only two of the guys reveal their name, but
Right.
we understand who they are by their juror number. But like before they even like organize that, like the guy who's the foreman, you know, is like, oh well, let's all sit in our assigned seat so we know, oh 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But before that, you kind of get these little, like I started making these like little notes. I was like, okay, well that's sick man, that's the meek man, that's the
Right.
angry guy,
That's great.
and then I started assigning like juror numbers to them. But still, like they had these tells as to like what kind of character they were going to be and who they were going to be, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. There were so many, and you know, they probably didn't even need. What was cool was that they totally realized that they don't need the names because the camera doesn't leave that room, and I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know that it was going to be like a bottle film, right?
Yeah, man.
So okay, we're jumping straight into the technical.
We're jumping
stuff.
into it, man.
The technical stuff that I absolutely loved were it was a bottle film.
Mm-hmm.
The dialogue was so strong, right?
Yeah.
Dialogue, emotions, so strong. It elicited such a strong emotional response for me. Anger for a lot of people's reactions. Anger for a lot of the premises that people had. Anger for how easily like people would dismiss this guy and like his case. And so much respect for Davis's boldness, right?
Mm-hmm.
From a technical standpoint, these days I've been doing nothing but like stalking my favorite DPs on the internet and like watching different stuff and like paying a lot of attention to that part of the film, which in some ways has been like bad because I've just been like losing sight of content personally. But nonetheless, there's been some really effective stuff that I've been paying attention to or wanting to see more of. And in this, oh my gosh, it said so much. If this entire film were in like a premiere timeline, there would be like long chunks of like clips. Like there'll be so long before there's ever a cut to anyone. Rarely is there a cut to someone as they're saying something. The camera will just like slowly zoom out or like slowly pan across the table to someone else. And one thing I really, really loved was just how much information, just how much unexplicit information they gave to us about each character. Like even in the beginning, they linger so long on all the small talk that doesn't serve the narrative. And I kept thinking, this would never happen in modern cinema. I mean, like, you know, like modern Hollywood cinema, of course.
Well, there's all these like little side conversations that happen in between their discussions and stuff that really give you a sense of the characters and give you these like little context clues as to like who these people are and ways to identify them. Because I mean, think about it. If you're literally thrown in this room with 12 people and you are expected to learn 12 people's names, like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Give them these little like characteristics that you can be like, oh, well, that's the sick guy. This is the European guy. This guy's the foreman. This guy's the loudmouth. Like I made like little nicknames for all of them. Like I'm the meek man, the stiff man,
the old man.
The old man, the respectful man,
the foreign man.
The foreign man. Yep, exactly, dude. It's just so great, and it's like they're all. I mean, in this one, they're all like white guys, but like there's things that you can identify them with, and like to go to your point, like I really like the main guy. What did I name him as? I just put him as the questioning man. He's the guy who votes not guilty initially. I felt that it shows the importance of a voice of dissent, right? Is that or
what's that? I think I might know what you're saying, but I've never
yeah,
heard
just
that
to
term before.
just to be like, hey, look, I know everybody's saying this, but like, what if this isn't the case? Like someone to question kind of everything. And I realized that like watching the movie and listening to everybody talk and their dialogue is that in a trial, like the defendant isn't the only person on trial. Everybody who's a part of that court system is on trial.
Yeah.
They're talking about like the witnesses and like, is this witness credible? Did this person really hear that? So it's like, these people aren't there. They're just giving their testimony, but they're still on trial per se about whether or not they're being truthful or to the truest that they can be.
And that's where everyone fell off, because they were like, oh, well, since the witnesses aren't the criminals, their testimony has to be gospel. But it never has to be gospel.
That's something that early on they were like, well, this person said it under oath. It's fact. And like watching this movie, you realize that, like, that's not the way our system works at all.
Right.
One thing I found that was amazing is that like 12 different people from different socioeconomic backgrounds can like get together and agree on something. And then through just discussion and like work, like all those people, they didn't need to be there. You know, like there was obviously the one guy who was the loudmouth guy. He was just like, well, I don't want to be here. Like, and everybody had these things where they just want to like get out. And it was because of that the not guilty guy that was like, hey, this is somebody's life. This is important. We need to devote time to this. And then them just working it out was like, hey, you know what? We're doing the right thing. This is the right thing to do because it's the right thing to do. There's no other like inspiration for it. It's just, it's right. It has to get done. It was really, it's so well done. Like this movie is incredible.
It is. Even the way that they kind of portrayed each person's disposition, like everyone, like at the end, they sort of talk about the importance of a motive. And I think one of the strongest points was that every member of the jury's motive weighs just as heavy into whether into the future of this kid, right? Mm-hmm. So like from things like, and they communicated it so well, from things like obviously the ending, right? The like really angry guy's ultimate motive, like he was distraught over the broken relationship that he had with his son. Which when I learned about that, I kind of back-pocketed because I was like, oh man, I really want to see how this plays into why he's so stubborn. You know what I mean?
Right.
But on top of that, I mean, even sans like all the hypocrisy that happened during that whole thing, even Loudmouth Man with, you know, who wanted to leave and go to the ball game, like there was this one portion where like everyone like takes a little bit of a break, and for like a good 5 minutes, like he discovers that the power of the fan was tethered to the power of the lights, and he's like, hey guys, look, I found the fan. I love that the camera doesn't leave him. It doesn't leave him. It doesn't catch the reaction of everyone. It's just on him. It's like the director telling us, no, pay attention to what he's doing though, like his mannerisms or whatever. You know what I mean? And he sort of just leans back and he's throwing balls into the fan, like, and you realize, oh, and the beat was so good the way they got it off of him because the ball hit the other guy, and then it left that. But like in that moment, you were like, this guy's he does not care. Like,
right.
He just doesn't care. And it's not a matter of like him having animosity, like the angry guy, or having a personal situation. Like his world is just his world, and he doesn't care at all just because it's not his world. And
he can't see outside of any four walls that he's in. You know what I mean? I think for him, he's the one who's telling jokes. He's telling everybody, you know, he's playing to the room. He's basically wants to make everyone in the room like him and be happy, and doesn't appreciate the severity of the situation that they're in until like the foreign guy kind of sits him down. Like the guy's just like, well, I'm changing my vote because I just want to get out of here. Right. And the foreign guy like gives it to him like real hard. Yeah. It's a great moment for the foreign guy where he's just like, no, it's fine that you think that he's not guilty. It's fine that you think that he's guilty, but you just need to care either way about it. You have to care, and you have to like just stand up for it, and not to just, someone's life is in the balance, and just be like, whatever. It's just not like an acceptable response. Oh man. It's like, it's just so I think about like as the movie's unfolding and stuff, I had no idea what to expect. I mean, I figured 12 Angry Men. I figured like the jury kind of thing. But as you know, I think we're just spoiled by procedurals at this point where like, okay, we're going to see the courtroom. We're going to see all this stuff. And it's like, no. You're just in this room and your mind is going to fill in the gaps as to like what happened in the court case and what,
right. Yeah.
And their dialogue does such a good job of like painting that picture.
It did.
It's just really well done. We were talking about the camera stuff. I really liked, the camera is very like purposeful. And I feel like, the director did like such a good job of, like saving those close-ups, you know?
Yeah.
Like the movie starts out very, very wide, a lot of medium shots, a lot of two shots and stuff. But then when it punches into that close-up, it's
like the beat
jarring.
of sweat from the guy that doesn't sweat. They lay down the
Right.
premise. He doesn't sweat,
God.
and then he sweats in that one moment. Oh,
yeah. How about one of my favorite ones is when they're talking about the knife and how important it is and how like he couldn't have lost it. The guy had never seen one before, and then it's like this low angle shot that you know like this is a medium shot, and then it just racks focus and turns into this close up of like him slamming down like a copy of the knife.
Yeah,
it's like whoa, and like then it immediately cuts to that wide shot, and everybody's just like, "What? Where did you get that? Oh my god!" It was like pandemonium for a second. It's just so well done. And yeah, like the old man when they would like cut to the old man, it was
he had
just
the best close-ups. Yeah,
he really did. He had like such a striking face,
yeah. And
like his delivery was so interesting. You're like, oh, it's heartwarming. I want to like hear what he has to say. But here's all these people being mean to him, and you're just like, he gets his like heroic moment to like stand up to the guy with the glass, the guy with the sweat and the glasses and stuff. And he's like, I bet that's from wearing glasses, and this is when he gets to like prove his point to like him and the angry man, and kind of like sell everybody on the idea that he's not guilty.
How powerful and artistic was that part when that one guy stands up and he's like, I can't have it. Like we know people like that are up to no good, and
dude,
everyone
I was on
just
the edge of my
slowly
seat.
Gets up.
Dude.
And walks on the edges of the room, and like
that's such good direction. Like he's tearing into this like racist tirade of just like we need to stop them, and like like I'm paraphrasing what he says, but it's and like one by one these guys just like pull away, and like you get to see like he realizes like he's literally all alone in the way he thinks. Like nobody is gonna take his side with it, and you see a little bit of that stuff. Like I rewatched it today. You see a little bit of that stuff coming through, like in that dialogue we were talking about. Like the angry guy, he's like, these lawyers, they ask so many questions, especially in such like an open and shut case like this. And he's talking to the real quiet guy, the meek guy, and he's just like, oh yeah, I mean, he voted guilty, and he seems like, I think he seemed like the kind of guy who was just kind of like go with the crowd.
Right, definitely.
He didn't want to like stand up and stuff, and like it really just. It's such a good, like, I feel like it's a good parable movie. You know what I mean? Like, this is a good, like,
definitely.
Like, I was watching that. I was like, I'm going to show my kid this one day and hope that he takes the message away. Like, hey, you don't have to go along with everybody. Like, if you feel strongly about something, stick to your guns and fight it out. And, but at the same time, also realize that your mind can be changed and just be open to new ideas, basically.
Right. And even like for me, what rung home, that definitely rung home, because I kept thinking to myself, like, I just had jury duty not too long ago. I was in a situation where
that's something we'll talk about in part 2. I would like to discuss that.
I'm gonna save that then.
Yeah, save that part. Yeah. Why don't we? Let's take a break.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll talk jury stuff, actual jury encounters. When we come back, we're gonna take a break, and we will be back.